you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk all things life, love, spirituality, law of attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. In this video, we're going to talk about your life and what it is that you might need to do to make it better. And a lot of times we get this calling in our heart. We hear it, we wake up each day, we're thinking the same thought over and over and over again. It might be, I need to leave my job, or I need to leave this relationship, or I need to move. When you're hearing the call, when you're having these reoccurring thoughts, meaning they're persistent, it's day after day after day. And a lot of times these thoughts come in when our body is settled down and calm and no longer distracted. Sometimes they can come in when you're in the thick of it, at the job, in the relationship, and you're just like, I'm over this. But your next thought is, but how am I going to do this? But how? But how? But how? And a leap of faith is essentially forgetting the how, and you just do it. You take one small action to put yourself in the driver's seat of your life, and you say, I have faith. And if you're on my channel, and if you're watching this video right now, you believe in the universe. You trust that it will hold you, it will protect you, it'll show up with this magic carpet, and it will literally catch you and take you to who you're supposed to go see next, to the job that you're supposed to be at next. It'll take you to a quiet place for you to create what it is that maybe you're being called to create. And the biggest part about taking a leap of faith is understanding that you have to know that you're always going to be taken care of. It is not on you. One of my clients recently, she's getting up the courage to take the leap. And she kept saying, well, this is the first time that I'm going to have to be in charge of my life. I'm going to have to provide for myself. I'm going to have to be in charge of my finances. And as somebody who's taken a leap of faith a couple times, 3 times in my life, it's not our job. The universe is going to provide for you. And the universe will definitely provide for you when you choose a path that is aligned with your body and your soul and your heart. If you are going somewhere, if you're living somewhere, or you're around somebody and it is just constant anxiety and fear and all of these things that are bubbling up to the surface, and you know if you just like cut the cord, you'll feel relief, but then you feel the fear of, I don't know what's next. That's when you need to do it. And I've done it a couple times, and I'm going to share one of my stories with you, but that's when you need to do it. It's because your body is telling you, your body is screaming at you, stop suffering. We don't want to suffer anymore. There's something better over here. You just can't quite see it yet, but just trust us. Your body wants you to trust it. And I've had many situations where I'm sitting on the couch wondering, where is money going to come from? Where is the next job going to come from? Where is the next person that I need to do this thing, or this place I need to work at to provide Reiki services? Like, I have always been in these situations. I shouldn't say always. I have been brought these situations where I had to trust. And every single time, you guys, it shows up. And you just can't control when. Okay. For example, I started my Reiki practice after I quit my job, which I'll explain in a minute. And I started my Reiki practice, and I started practicing at home in my home. And it was a little loud, a little distracting. I never knew if a neighbor was going to knock on my door. Then I started to leave notes on my door, like, shh, in session. It was just too much. And I'm like, universe, can you please bring me a space? It took 4 weeks. It took 4 weeks for me to get into alignment with where I was supposed to go next. The universe brought me a friend to go to lunch with. She mentioned this place called the Center. I went home that day. My hand was shaking. And that's how you know you need to take action on it, is when you have fear building. My hand was shaking and I was so fearful. And I'm like, oh no, if I make this call, then that means I have to show up, and maybe I have to step into a new version of myself and work for somebody, or work with other people that I'm intimidated by. All of these thoughts came up, but it was all the unknown. So I stopped and was like, Michelle, don't create a story that's not real. What if it's the best place to work ever? What if you make so many new friends? And guess what? That's what happened. So my hand was shaking. I called. They called me back in 7 days and said, hey, we love your energy. We'd love to meet you. I go there and boom, I get a room at this place, and I don't have to pay much. It's like equal to one session that I charge for Reiki. So I now have a space to do Reiki. And it took about 4 weeks for the universe to make it happen for me. But being on this journey, I knew to journal, to ask for it, to surrender and say, I don't need to know how this is going to happen, universe. And actually, the universe kind of took away some clients in those 4 weeks. I wasn't really doing Reiki much because that it was too loud. And the universe is like, this is not a space for healing. And it just works out. So without those scenarios, though, like I wouldn't have this faith. I had to take the leap and step off the cliff to see how I would be caught. And don't get me wrong, in those 4 weeks when there was no Reiki clients, I was like, oh no, this is my source of income. What am I going to do? And then as soon as I got booked at the center, they put me on their website. I then started making the same amount of money that I was making teaching. So speaking of teaching, let's dive into how I quit my job and took my leap of faith. So I was a teacher for about 17 years at a high school. I taught health and fitness or health and phys ed, and I mostly taught nutrition, like the junior level, not junior high, juniors in high school. They're like 16, 17 years old. I taught them nutrition. I taught them about drugs, about alcohol, mental health. Then I moved into mindfulness and meditation. And I switched to a second school because I took one leap of faith and then I panicked. And I was like, oh no, I don't have my faith yet. I don't know what I'm doing. And looking back, I shouldn't say I wish I didn't do it because the next school I went to was so fun and I met so many wonderful people, but I panicked. And I was like, oh no, like, am I meant to be doing this? I was 2 months without a job and I started working like a desk job just to like have some income coming in, but I didn't know how the universe worked. I didn't know to like chill out, Michelle. It might take 2 months, it might take 4 weeks, but we have to just rest in this knowing that something will come. So, my advice to you is if you have a little bit in savings, and maybe you don't have anything in savings, if maybe you have some credit cards that are resources that we can use, some people are willing to go like, they're willing to risk everything to start their mission. But if you're not that type of person, if you're somebody who has a sensitive nervous system and you can't handle a leap of faith where there's no money, and not many people could, some people have done it. You know, you hear about those people who have $10 in their pocket and they go across country to start a new life for themselves. I give them credit. I don't think I could do that. But all of my leaps of faith, I always had this like backup of, all right, if I really needed something, my family could help me. I could have a place to stay. I had credit cards that had big limits that I wasn't using. I could fall back on them. Or I didn't have a ton in my savings, the first leap of faith. That was like a huge thing. So I had debt, didn't have savings. And that's what made me go and apply for another teaching job. And I only taught at the second job for about 2 years. But this last leap of faith, which is why I'm creating this video, I had somebody DM me and ask me to create this video for them. This last leap of faith was a real leap. It was scary, but I did it. And it was my greatest joy. It is my best decision of my life. And it happened at a very unique time, which it tends to. So my dad was sick. He was in hospice. September and October of last year. I was just starting out my teaching year. I went 2 days to the school and I just had all of this anxiety. It was like, Michelle, you're not supposed to be here. I literally was in the gym about to teach a class. And as I just started my words, like that's how I was at the school. It's like the universe and my angels and guides took all of the words from me. I was standing there and was like, I literally was not supposed to be there. And I went and took a mental health leave of absence, AKA to also care for my dad, to be available. And there was a lot of things that went down with that, but it was essentially a leave of absence where I didn't get paid. And I was desperate. I was like, I cannot go to school every day without this. I can't teach. I literally couldn't do it. My body was screaming. And I don't know if it was because my dad was in hospice and if it was just, but literally, I think it still would have happened even if my dad wasn't sick. But my guides were just saying, Michelle, you're not supposed to be here. So I took a leave of absence. The minute I got that paperwork signed from my doctor, I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, such freedom. And I was like, Michelle, why did you wait so long to do this? Why did you wait 2 years? Because to me, at that point, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to teaching ever. And it was just, riding the wave while I took care of my dad and my family took care of my dad. We all chipped in and did the best we could. And then my dad unfortunately passed on October 12th. And then everything started to come up again. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm grieving. I have to go back to work in a couple weeks because I only had a certain number of weeks off unpaid. Remember, unpaid. So I was not getting paid that whole time. So that was a leap of faith too. But I did have a little bit in savings, probably enough in savings to pay for like 3 months rent. And but I was using that money. So me thinking about quitting my job in November, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do for December, January, and February rent? Like, I can't keep, my savings will be depleted. I just was like trying to find a way. I was like, I cannot go back there. I have to figure something out. And I would wake up every day. But the best thing that happened, you guys, and this is what I wish for all of you, is I finally had time to let my nervous system relax. For 2 years, I was at that job, kind of knowing that I wasn't supposed to be at that job, even though it served a purpose and I had things wonderful that happened there. But my nervous system knew it. And when I had these 3 months, September, October, November, 3 months off from teaching, even while my dad was in hospice, I felt free. I felt so free for the first time in, what was it, 39 years. I felt freedom. And I was like, this feels too good. I am no longer sacrificing this. This is how I want to feel for the rest of my life. And I endured the loss of my daughter in 2012 and then the loss of my dad last year. I endured sexual abuse and physical abuse as a young girl. So, like, I felt like I just was always in survival. And for the first time in my life, I had these few months where it wasn't like a summer off for teaching, it was like permanent. I was just off. And I'm like, how am I okay right now? Like, how am I not worried about money? But it was just so bad that I just finally felt relief. And in that relief, this is what I want to share with you. In that relief, my creativity light bulb turned on. I wrote an ebook while my dad was in the hospital, and it was all about grief and the unknown. I made my own card deck come January. I started my YouTube channel January 1st. I always was doing readings at that time, but my readings skyrocketed. All of a sudden, that first 2 weeks after I quit my job, I resigned on November 19th, and it was an eclipse day. So I cut the cord on that. Literally the next week, it was like everybody came out of the woodwork booking readings with me. And I didn't even have a website yet. It was all through Instagram. And I'm like, what is going on? Is this the universe telling me like I should have quit my job a long time ago and all of these clients would have shown up earlier? And it was yes. So the universe was providing for me. It was bringing me all the clients that I needed to match my paycheck, my teaching paycheck. So it was, but don't get me wrong, figuring out health insurance, figuring out what to do with my pension, figuring out all those things, I was in panic mode and I was by myself doing it. I had one other friend and she had also quit her teaching job. I think she quit her job before me. And yeah, I think she did it the month before me, but we both were on this roller coaster ride. We're like, all right, we're free. We're finally free from the system. And we just felt so good. We were sleeping in till like 8 a.m. and we're like, oh my God, is this what it feels like to be free? We literally felt like we were living like millionaires. And that's when the creativity started to pour through both of us. And for me, I can't believe I wrote an ebook. I can't believe I made my own card deck. I started, my readings were booming. I felt like I was a powerhouse on social media. I had all this free time to just create, and the money was flowing. And then I started my Reiki practice because the universe will bring you what you're supposed to do next. So when you take a leap of faith and you're not quite sure what you're supposed to be doing, like I had my readings income, but that was it. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have my mentorship. I didn't have Reiki. So it was a little bit scary. I only had one source of income and a little bit of savings. And I was giving myself those 3 months to be like, all right, Michelle, co-create with the universe and figure out what you're going to do. And if in 3 months you still can't get it together, then you're going to go get a job somewhere else and you will be safe and the universe will provide that job for you if it's meant to be. But I got my shit together a lot quicker and the universe got it together for me. And I just knew to follow the breadcrumbs and I knew where to go. And I learned so much along the way. And that's why I love mentoring people, because when I mentor you, I am in your life. I am now your best friend. I guide you. I say, I remember this happened to me. See how you feel about this. See if you want to go this way. So I kind of show you the way. And when I was doing the readings in YouTube, I was posting on YouTube every single morning, my morning messages, unpaid, just doing it and just hoping income would come from it. And then somebody texted me one day and was like, "Hey, do you offer Reiki?" And I had been certified for 2 years, but I just did it for my own education about energy and the energy body and our chakras. And I had never practiced. I didn't even have a massage table, but somebody texted me, "This is how the universe works." It was bringing me my next steps. So two people messaged me in the same week. So I now know how to follow breadcrumbs. So I was like, okay, the universe is saying Reiki can be a form of service for me. It could bring me joy, maybe. I'm going to try this out. And meanwhile, while I'm saying all of this about money, it really is about your service and it's about your mission, because we're leaving something that's not serving us and we're choosing something that is our creativity. I'm just explaining how the money showed up, choosing my mission. Okay. But I did not think Reiki was going to be my mission. And the universe brought it to me. And I said yes. Sometimes you have to say yes and then figure it out later. I said yes, quickly bought a massage table on Amazon, put it on a credit card. It was like $125. Table arrived. I remember 2/2/22 is when I did my first Reiki session. And that's when it got noisy. I started doing a couple sessions and I'm like, I need somewhere else to do it. And that's when I manifest working at the center. Then I got a job at the center, which I didn't work for anyone else. I'm just renting a space there. But the amount that I pay monthly also puts me on their website. And they do a fair once a month on a Saturday. And we offer readings, we offer acupuncture. Every single person that rents a space in the center, they offer services at the fair and we give talks. So now I'm expanding myself. Now the universe is like, okay, Michelle, we're going to prepare you for public speaking. And then I was being pulled into that. So now I'm giving talks once a month at the fair, meeting all these different people. Then I get approached by a woman who's sitting in on one of my talks and she has her own TV show online and she asked me to be on it. Then I have to expand myself and go down that road. So all of these different things started happening. And it's because I took the leap. It's because I stepped into what brought me joy. And when I first took the leap, what brought me joy was rest, was finally having some space and time to breathe and not having to go to a job that was completely draining me. Teaching was fabulous. I loved it for the first 15 years. And then the last 2 years of my career, it was like, Michelle, you're supposed to be doing something else. It's time to really step into what you came here to do, which was utilizing my spiritual gifts. So I hope this video helped you see how the timeline of things for me, like I left my job in November and it took a little while. Maybe by March, I probably was making like 4,500 with my teaching salary a month, which is not a lot for a teacher. They should be making more because they're amazing. But in the United States, where I live, I was making probably 4,500 total a month teaching. Well, by March, that's how much I was making doing my mentorship program, Reiki and readings. And after I started the Reiki, I started to build more people and my YouTube game really kicked up because I was feeling so good helping people with Reiki and the readings that I was like, ooh, I got to like share the messages and the manifesting teachings that I'm doing in my sessions with my clients on YouTube. So then I started posting sign videos. And then my YouTube grew. I went from like 40 subscribers to 800 in just a couple weeks. And then I created my website and then I created my mentorship program and it all slowly unfolded. And then I had consistent income with the mentorship program starting in March. And it's been consistent this whole time up until now, currently in November of 2022. So I am 1 full year coming around on my anniversary. It just passed on the 19th. And I am so proud of myself because honestly, my health got better, my hair got better, my skin got better. I just felt like I was happier. I was no longer suffering. My digestion got better. I'm able to process foods better. I had all these food intolerances while I was teaching my last few years because my body was screaming with anxiety and I couldn't process anything. So everything starts to line up when you choose yourself. Be brave, take the leap if you're feeling the call. If you need to moonlight for a little bit, maybe do your side gig at night or during the day whenever you're not working to kind of build abundance. Like I could have done Reiki and readings. Reiki wasn't a thing yet, but if I already had that under my belt, I could have really started to amp that up. I could have built my website. I maybe could have had the idea to do the mentorship. But for me, I was so clouded with my grief and with the pressure of teaching and having all that energy into planning lessons. Sometimes if I had health class, like in a classroom, I had to do paperwork, but it was just so physically draining. At the end of the school day, I just wanted to sleep. So I had no room and space in my body, in my energy, to even think to do Reiki or to do YouTube. So I had to cut the cord in order to create space in my life for my creativity button to turn on, to then have everything kind of flood in. So there's multiple ways to take leaps of faith. You can moonlight for a little bit, build your abundance, and then leap when you're matching the same money while you're moonlighting with your regular job. Or you can be like me and be brave and do like a 3-month buffer. Give yourself a certain amount of time and say, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And if I don't, I know the universe will protect me and it will bring me funds to then go get another job or to just see what happens and maybe to see who I become in the process. Because I was not this girl on camera a year ago. She didn't even exist. And I am proof that you can do it too. I am sending you so much love. And if you need help taking a leap of faith, I highly, highly, highly recommend booking a session with me and also taking a course called Fear Alchemy. This course is amazing. It's all about stepping through your fear. My hand shaking on the phone that day, calling the center. Think about what the center did for me. It brought me space to do Reiki. I broke out of my fear of public speaking. I'm doing talks now. Like, it expanded me. I have so many new friends. I just hosted a Friendsgiving with all the women that work there. One of the psychic mediums just texted me the other day and she's like, hey, I was talking to your spirit guides. You need to write a book. So like all these connections and good things came from that experience. So stepping through my fear that day, calling the center, that was pivotal. So if you have fears that are blocking you from taking this leap, go take this course. I'm going to link it below. You get 10% off with my code. It's less than $200. And there's 10 foundations of fear. And Ben, the creator, his name's Ben Harris. He's amazing. He's soft. He's gentle. He guides you through why you're feeling stuck and why maybe you can't just cut the cord and take the leap. Okay? He educates you on every aspect to feel more free in your life. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that course. And if you need help, I can be a guide for you as well with my mentorship program and my sessions. Everything's in the description box below. All right, lovies, I am sending you so much love. You got this. You can do this. Let's get you on your mission. All right, peace out.